Welcome back to the 13 Ghost. And now it's time for Ghost number 2. And the beginnings of why this season is so gosh darn bad. Or middling. Or mid. Or just plain forgotten. Lyoko -1. Yes, you will see in the title of this description. I will tell you ahead of time. I will be using the integer rather than spelling it out. There's a reason for that. One, to save title space so you can see it, and two, because really, seriously, this episode, subjectively so, begins my frustration with this season. Because it introduces the seasonal conceit. Like Xana running around the internet wasn't enough of a seasonal conceit. They have to introduce the actual seasonal conceit. And it's the most unoriginal, linear, and boring seasonal conceit of the four. It which the previous two had intrigue, had value, had reasoning, had emotional investment. This, however, does not. The real world plot doesn't really matter here. Kedek, well, at least this part of Kedek, needs a new class representative. There is an election. Herb, Jeremy, and Odd are involved. Odd gets thrown in there as a shock third to challenge Jeremy and Herb. Spoiler warning, he wins. The reason is for the seasonal conceit. This is practically unimportant. It's pretty much thrown to the backfire once the Lyoko stuff starts happening. Xana activates the tower to do God knows what, but we do find out one of its many advantages for being free now. He can possess entire groups of people. Note, the thing that he possesses is, well, using it as a conduit, the same electric bus that we saw all the way back when our journey began in week 4. That's right, the bus, the same one as in the episode logbook, and everyone in it is possessed again, including Jim, the entire class that Yumi's on a field trip with, and the bus driver. Everyone, upon mass, turned into possessed specters. This is terrifying. This is the only good part of the episode, as Yumi tries to run away from the fledgling mob. But, as we will later discover, this is just bait. Why is it bait? Because in the first sector, in which that's why Yumi's going on a field trip to talk about deforestation and the pollution of the forest, symbolic parallels that are not done very well through dialogue until the very end. That is the fourth sector is the sector that we're doing the stack for. Odd and Aelita are forced to go in as a duo to deal with the tower, to do the normal Code Lyoko thing. It just so happens that the normal Code Lyoko thing is not the point here. Odd gets overwhelmed by tarantulas it's looking bad. And it's made worse when our old friend the Skipazoa shows up. But why is the Skipazoa here? We're quickly given confirmation as to why. Taking Aelita again and succeeding again, now the pseudo-possessed Aelita is off to a completely different tower. Why? To introduce something that was never introduced before, never mentioned before, and will become the linchpin to why this season is so bad. Why it's so mid. Why it's so linear. Why it's so forgettable. 2 words, and not the 2 words that D-Generation X made famous. No, the 2 words are simply this. Code Xana. The anti-code. The yin to Code Lyoko's proverbial yang. This thing is about to become the annoyance of why this season is so unwatchable and so forgettable, as you will find out down the line in the individual episodes that this code is used. It's bad. The introduction is bad. What it does is supposed to instill fear and trepidation that our heroes are running out of options. And even the introduction of William getting more and more pestilently involved is supposed to ratchet up the tension. No, this season uses a ton of just unearned conceits to ratchet up tension. Code Xana is the biggest of these conceits. What does it do? Well, it just deletes an entire Lyoko sector off the map. See, Xana's endgame is essentially to delete the other 4 Lyoko sectors so that our heroes can't chase him down. He destroys the core, takes care of his work, the villain's ultimate checkmate. So, Jeremy's now on a ticking clock to find a way to get them into Sector 5 without having to use the Scipio code to get them there. This is the only righteous conceit of all of this. But you didn't have to create a cinematic linear loop to get it here. But if you had to create the cinematic loop though, I do have a solution that I will provide to you as a bookmark this week. Yep, I told you ahead of time that there would be a lot of bookmarks this season. I am about to pull out the pen myself and write this season correctly, even before we get to the end of it. I'm going to show you how this season could have been made more interesting, more thrilling, and not add so much tension conceit. And it's actually easier than you think. And if you wait until this Friday, I will give you the answer. Code Xana is a mistake, as it is. But I intend to fix it. As far as this episode goes, it's a 2 out of 6. It's a nigh unwatchable episode filled with conceits, and the biggest conceit won't go away until we reach the end of this thing. Trust me, having the villain win once is good. Having him win a bunch of times in the most boring, unentertaining way, You'll find out why that's so bad. And if you wait until this Friday, you'll find out how I would fix it. It's time for some fantasy booking, my friends. After all, there's a reason this season is called The 13 Ghost. A lot of it has to do with its writing mistakes. So until next week, where hopefully there won't be so much subjective rage induced. I'm Nirvana Sparkle, your code Santa for bad ideas. Find peace in your own Nirvana. This week I plan to give you a good one.